I really don't. I don't.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. We're glad you're joined us out there on the YouTubes and the Facebooks, all that good stuff. Welcome to Afternoon Astonishment from Conjuror Community, the world's best magic club. I'm Adam Grace. I'm here with Alexander Slimmer, Steve Barcelona, and of course, Aaron Fisher has the day off. So today we are going to continue our look at Harry Lorayne because we love him so much. And today we're going to look a little bit of mentalism that he's going to do and a little bit of gambling routine. But we're going to start with some mentalism. Do us a favor, please hit like on this video, give us a thumbs up. That will make sure the YouTube algorithm is getting us out there to everybody. And if you'll subscribe to our channel, you'll be notified when we go live next time with another show. All right, what's up, gang? Welcome. Glad you're here. What's going on?
More Harry Lorayne. That's what's going on. We're gonna watch The Master at Work and see some great stuff. I'm like I said, I'm a fan. I love watching Harry Lorayne do his thing, and this first one is a quick one just to get us back into the vibration of looking at Harry, and a really good, strong piece of magic, I think. Let's check this thing out.
Thank you. You've all heard of 3-card Monte, and there's a 4-card Monte. I'll talk some more about that in a while. That's where more money is bet, and the operator can make more money. But what always bothered me is the fact that the person that's betting is always made to look like a fool. You know, and I don't like, I'm too small for that, is what it boils down to. So I need a partner. You're going to be my partner, see. In other words, I want you to win. I want you to always win. But in this case, I've got the low clubs here, the ace to 4 of clubs. The ace is usually the money card. Let's make that the money card, okay? Now, just so that you get these cards in your mind, look, the ace of clubs, as I said, that's the money card, okay? So keep your eye on that. The 4 of clubs, forget about it. It has nothing to do with the trick. The 3 of clubs also is kind of going along with the ride. The important card could also be the deuce, the 2 of clubs, okay? You'll see what I mean in a minute. Now, I told you, Robin, there's no way I'm going to let you lose. So the point here is for you to try to find the ace. So you point to whatever you think is the ace of clubs. This one right here, and I said to you, there's no way I'm going to let you lose. There you go. You found the ace of clubs. But we'll go a step further. Out of the cards that are left, you know that's the ace. We got the 2, 3, 4. Let me mix them a little bit. You know that's the ace. See if you can find the deuce. And there's no way I'm going to let you lose. Which, you think this one is the deuce right over here? That card. Look, did I say to you there's no way I'm going to let you lose? There's no way you're going to lose with it. All right.
I like the way he winks at the audience right there at the end, like, man, a little something for you guys, you know? That was great.
I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool little trick. It's, you know, it's one of those things. It's like when you're moving trick to trick in a set, it's nice to have little transition pieces like that are just a good little get it done trick, and then you can move on to something with sort of a clean slate. To me, it's like eating the ginger at sushi. You cleanse the palate before you move on to the next thing. You know.
I mean, you know, as far as time-wise, it's a quick little trick, but there's just a lot. What does Aaron say? There's a lot of thread count there, you know? There's a lot of thread count. It's not a quick little trick, you know. We get some stuff going on there.
Some stuff going on. But yeah, as far as the spectators are concerned, it's just a quick whoa. How'd that happen?
How about that?
I like it. You're muted over there, Adam.
How many card plots do you think Harry knows? Hundreds?
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. All of them.
I mean, you got to think about a guy like that. We already know he has an amazing memory, which we haven't really even talked about the memory system yet. But everybody highlight Alex so we can see Alex's library back there. So look at the books behind there. That probably represents Harry Lorayne's actual mind. He probably has all that memorized.
I would say even more. I mean, remember that he was the publisher of Apocalypse, right? And Apocalypse ran for a long time, and Apocalypse represented the best of the best magicians contributing their ideas that weren't worthy of being in a book because they only had 1 or they only had 2, and then they would donate them to something like Apocalypse. And if you go back and look at the collection there, the stuff that's in there, it's just so many, to Adam's point, different plots and twists on plots and turning plots on their ear. And, you know, I think he understands all of them. I think he's played with all of them because he's tried to find a twist on all of them, because I think that's how you sort of stumble into original material. You have to experiment with all the known stuff, and then all of a sudden you stumble into a new idea. And I would guess that that's probably how he found a lot of his original routines, was by doing that very thing, you know? Wouldn't you say so, Adam?
Yeah, I would say so too. And just watching him tackle mentalism too, I know that he, you don't really think of Harry Lorayne as a mentalist, but just like any magician, I mean, we all delve into that area eventually, right? We all start to study it. We all start to learn mentalism and learn mentalism routines. So I'm sure Harry probably knows more than than most of us have forgotten when it comes to mentalism. Probably has that whole Animan book just you know memorized.
To your point, the next thing that we're going to look at is a very, mind reading centric kind of a thing. And it is, it's a plot that a lot of people tackled. And Harry saw potential, and he saw a way to take this in a different direction, to be able to basically put something at the beginning to set up the effect, so that it wasn't like things were just sort of out of place. You'll see what I mean. It's really two effects that happen here, but one sets you up for the second one in a really beautiful way. And this one is probably one of those great examples of something that we might want to take a deeper look at. And maybe in the after show, we should look at this one, because this is a pretty in-depth piece of mind reading, but very simple in terms of what the spectators see. It's very good. Very good.
Thank you. I wanted to try, I don't do many what magicians call pick a card tricks, but for this I want to kind of lead up to something. I want to try something. I've been sort of on a kick of mind reading kind of stuff, and vibrations from people and things like that. And I want to try that, Ursula. So if you'll work with me on this, I'm going to ask you, you know how I like to turn my back to you, and I don't know if I can do it under these circumstances. Could you reach in and grab a card? Have you got one? I don't feel anything. Grab one. Have you got one? Yeah. Show it to at least one other person. And you remember it yourself, obviously. Put it into the deck. Now, as I've said a few times, a lot of magicians, they like to put their fingers into the deck. I don't do that. I like to set challenges for myself. I don't want to know what your card is, because what's the point? Where's the magic to that? And a lot of people say, well, yeah, if that's true, wise guy, why don't you let me shuffle the deck? Well, I'm glad you said that. Why don't you shuffle the deck? Not that I'm calling you a wise guy or myself a wise guy, but, it's better if the spectator shuffles the deck. In other words, there's no way anybody could know the card, but sometimes the cards themselves will help me find your card. And I know you're concentrating on it, aren't you, on your card? Okay, sometimes as I look through the deck, for example, I could tell this card right here tells me your card is a black card. You don't have to tell me if I'm right or wrong, incidentally. I'm really just thinking out loud at the moment, okay? This card that I'm coming to right now tells me that your card is an even card. Again, I may be way off. You don't have to, answer me or tell me if I'm right or wrong. This card tells me that you're thinking of kind of a high card, sort of a medium card, and then finally, ordinarily that card would tell me that you're thinking of a red card. Don't tell me whether I'm right or wrong. Well, all these cards together tell me that this should be your card. What was your card now, seriously? 8 of clubs. The 8 of clubs. See, the cards were right. They told me. So that's interesting. No, that's interesting, but I was leading up to one thing. I have a few cards here, so work with me, because now I've kind of got your vibrations going. See, that was the whole point of this, was kind of a test for you and for me to see if I can get vibrations from you. You'll see what I mean in a moment. I would like you to think of one of those cards. Just think of one. I'm not even going to look at your eyes in case you think I, follow your eyes. So get one of them in your mind. If you got one, in this case, you have to really remember it, because I don't want you to ask you to show it to anybody, because you might think I'm looking. So have you got one of those cards in your mind now? One of those? Mm-hmm. You do? Yes. Okay. That's 1 out of 5. But if I shuffle the deck, it's really 1 out of 52, isn't it? Right. So you're just concentrating on one particular card out of all these cards. You're concentrating on one card in this deck. Okay. Help me out here. Put your left hand out, palm up, would you? Now, this is what I meant by vibrations. You see, I go off on tangents sometimes, but I come back to the point. If I put that card on your hand, ooh, wow. See, that tells me that this time you are not thinking of the 8 of clubs. Am I right? Right. I'm right. Okay, let's do this. Wow, those vibrations are coming through strong. This tells me what that vibration told me, that you're thinking of an even card. An even card, am I right?
No.
I'm wrong?
Yeah.
What was your card?
5 of diamonds.
Take a look at that card. Show it to me.
Solid piece. It's a solid piece of magic. Really good.
Yeah, we need to talk about that one in the after show for sure. That has layers upon layers. I like that. The
A
constructs
lot
of
of stuff
that.
going on there, but very simplex in terms of what the spectator experiences, right? Like as far as they're concerned, I thought of a card and it was there. And he read my mind the first time to get to the point. We lined up and he read my mind. And then he read my mind again just by placing the cards on my palm. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I really like that treatment of all of that stuff. It's really
A
good.
lot of what Harry does really blurs the line in Magic. It really, because for those of you guys girls that don't really know much about Harry Lorayne, he really was one of the world's foremost memory experts. I don't know if you remember, but there was infomercials back in the 80s that talked about the Harry Lorayne memory system. When I was a kid, that system was like the premier memory system, and so you could. So Harry used to do a lot of corporate speaking, and in his younger years, he would go up in front of corporations and he would stand on stage and he would meet, there might be 500 people in the audience, and he would meet each and every one of them in the course of the night. And then part of his show, or part of his act, is he would stand up on stage and talk about the memory work that he's done over the year, and then he could call out every single person's name in the room. Jim, Pam, bam, but just bam, right down the row.
I remember him doing that on the late night shows,
Yeah.
doing the same thing. Every audience member.
I know. I saw Harry Lorayne do just that very thing, where he stood on the stage at the end of the show and went to every single table and went, Bob, if I say your name, stand up. Bob, Tom, blah, blah, blah. Every single name, 300 people in the room. They all stood up. What do you think happens then? Standing ovation, right?
Right.
I mean, you name every single person in the room correctly. It was mind-blowing.
It's astounding. That's astounding.
So to me, his magic really blurs the line. Like, you don't know when you're watching it. You don't know. You can't really define it. You can't say this is mentalism, right? You can't really say this is mentalism, because a lot of his magic is sleight of hand, but a lot of it is also very psychological. I mean, he uses a lot of really psychological tricks in his
Let me ask you a question. Do you think mentalism itself, to call something mentalism, it's when the presenter, the mentalist, is really trying to put over the fact that he has mental abilities, versus when you watch Harry, the reveal is more of a magic type of reveal, right? So do you think that's kind of different?
But he did sort of blur the lines there, right? I sort of make a similar distinction. If it's mentalism, you're presenting it as something that could be real. Otherwise, it's mental magic, right? In my mind.
Yeah, mental magic, exactly.
But he has that moment where he puts the card on their hand and he goes, ooh, I felt something there, right? He's blurring the lines a little bit more to where it does feel to me, it feels a little bit more like mentalism. And another thing, to Adam's point, it is interesting how he creates a situation, right? Like in the beginning, he created an adversarial relationship with that woman that was like meek, right? She made no noise, and he said, maybe you're thinking, well, why don't I get to shuffle the cards? And you're right. Why don't you shuffle the cards, right? He created an adversarial relationship out of nothing, just by conversation.
That's just New York, bro. That's just New York, bro. It's like, it's nothing there. Enough. That's just getting a buttered roll and coffee at the deli in the morning. Same attitude.
Someone just said 24 times he appeared on the Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. 24 appearances. I did not know that.
That's where I'm sure I saw him do the audience member thing.
I think
it's impressive.
All right, so here, I just did it. I just looked him up officially on Wikipedia, and of course, the guy, he also had New York Times best-selling books. I mean, come on, Harry Lorayne's done just about everything. He is 95 years old, guys and girls, still sharp as a tack. I guess that memory system does work, doesn't it?
He's remembering how to keep going.
That's right.
I saw a session with him recently, within the past year, and he's still doing all this magic like nothing, like it's no big deal. His biggest gripe was, all right, I'm doing this to a webcam, and I guess you guys are all on the internet and you can hear me, and all right, let me do the thing, right? It was like that. That was like the biggest hurdle that the guy had to get over. Otherwise, he was Harry Lorayne, and he was being Harry Lorayne, and it was wonderful.
So check it out.
Amazing.
Check this out, you guys. I was just looking at the Wikipedia article. Am I sharing the right screen? Are you looking at the?
Yes.
Okay. Look at the sheer number of publications that the guy had over the years.
Good memory, good student.
Look at all this. I mean,
Oh my God! See the Lucas book, the Jerry Lucas book.
Yeah, he
No.
did a memory book with him too. That's right.
Yep.
Let's see, where is that?
I remember that.
It's
I
right
have
over here on the left. The memory book, Classic Guide to Improving Your Memory with
Oh,
Jerry
right here.
Lucas,
This
74.
one.
He was a basketball player, I think, right? Jerry Lucas.
And I think he became a politician or a little bit
Right
of a
after that, yeah.
Yeah, right after that. Yeah.
I think he started out as a basketball player. I might be wrong. On that.
I think you are totally right. I think he was a basketball player. I have a friend
Oh,
that's
Harry,
that's
look
a
at
super fan of Harry, and he had most of all of these like original books
Yeah.
on his shelf. That's how I got into Harry Lorayne, was because my friend was really into Harry Lorayne.
And
so
look at this. What you
much.
said, Alex. You said Apocalypse. Look, 1978 to 1997.
I don't have them, and those are books I would love to get at some point. But there are collected edition of all of the Apocalypse. Each one's like a 600 or 700 page tome, and there's 4 volumes of that represents all of the major publication of Apocalypse.
You know what I have? Bud Dietrich. Do you know who that is? He's a trade show performer.
I know the name. I don't know him.
Anyway, unfortunately, Bud passed away a few years ago, and I became the owner of the complete set of Apocalypse original, like.
Oh, you have the issue.
Mail. I have the issues. All bindered up.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
I bet that's really cool to go through. You could probably just like pick out a binder and just open it to a random page.
Yeah,
and
it's just ridiculous.
Gold, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You're going to give the whole thing away to one of our members right now, the first person to put a 2 in. No, I'm just kidding.
It was me.
Alex is first.
Oh, boy. You were on it, Alex. Sorry, Lou. Alex beat you to it.
Sorry, Lou.
That's funny. That's funny. All right,
so we should check out this other one, Adam. This is something that Harry is like world famous for, this routine. When the first time I saw Harry, I saw him do in a video collection. I saw this trick, and it's not really a trick. This is like a showpiece. This is a routine, and you'll see this is a little bit longer, a little bit more involved, and it's a story trick, but Harry Lorayne style, and it's very gambling centric. And you'll see I think it's just a wonderful, wonderful showpiece. Let's check this thing out.
Thank you. I wanted to get away from the mind reading thing and the sort of select a card thing and show you sort of an interesting thing to do with gambling. And it's one of a story thing. It's a story I made up years ago based on a true story. Would you shuffle the cards for me? These kind of things must be done from a shuffle deck. I usually work with borrowed decks. So obviously when a borrowed deck is handed to me, it's sloppy, it's dirty, corners are bent, and it's been shuffled, okay? Now the story is, well, you've all heard of stacking a deck, I'm sure. The word is actually stuck, but since everybody says stack, I'm going to say stack also, just to make it easier, okay? Now, what I'm doing right here is looking for the aces, no big deal. But the whole point here is to see if you people can catch me stacking the deck, okay? I need one more ace. If I can find that, we're off and running. Here it is. Okay. The story goes like this. It seems that there were 4 men playing with a card shop, and that brings up an interesting question. You should be asking yourself, well, if he knew he was a card shop, why were they playing with him? They wouldn't play with him. Well, it's a good question. It's a logical question. It has a very logical answer. It seems that the card shark was a little careless this evening, and whenever he turned the deck face up, which he was doing inadvertently, the men would see the 4 aces on the bottom. He'd give him what is known in the trade as a belly cut like that, and then he'd take a few more cards from here, and he'd cut the deck a few more times, but it didn't matter. No matter what he did, when he flashed, they saw the 4 aces on the bottom of the deck. So finally, the 4 men turned to this card shop. They said, look, buddy, not that we don't trust you, because we don't. Would you mind if we put the aces into the deck ourselves one at a time? That way we know you're not cheating. Well, the card shops couldn't very well say no, because that would be admitting his guilt. So he very meekly said yes. And then what happened is one of the men who knew a little bit about cards cut a few cards. He made a fan out of those cards. This is called a fan. He took one of the aces, put it into the fan, pushed it in to make sure it was lost. He closed the fan, made sure that ace was lost by taking a few more cards from here and putting them on top of these. He in turn handed the deck to the next guy who took another ace, put it on the face of the deck, gave the deck a cut like that, took some more cards from here, put it on top of these, and completed the cut. The card shop was getting nervous, started to look through the deck, but it was too late. He couldn't find the aces because The third guy took the third ace, put it on the deck, gave the deck a cut like this, took some more cards from here, put it on the deck, and completed the cut. Well, as I say, the card shark was getting nervous, trying to find the aces. He just couldn't. There was no time, because the last guy took the last ace, put it on the deck, gave the deck a cut, took some more cards from here, and he completed the cut. Well, the card shark looked at the four men and he said, look, fellas, you guys have lost the cards, the aces, in such a way that you yourselves don't know where the heck they are. He said, I demand the privilege of giving the deck 2 straight cuts. That's all I ask. Well, they had a little committee meeting. They said, what the heck, he can't do any cheating with 2 cuts. Well, let him do it. So he took the deck and he gave the deck 1, 2 cuts, just like that. And then he said, you know, guys, it's getting very late in the evening. Boy, it sure is late. He said, let's play a very quick but cutthroat game. We'll play cutting to the highest card. Whoever gets the highest card wins. That's fast, that's quick. He said, but I am so sure and so confident that I can beat you 4 fellas that not only will I have to cut to a higher card to beat you, I'll have to cut to a higher card of the same suit. In other words, if you cut the 9 of spades, I won't beat you with the 10 of hearts. It has to be the 10 of spades. Is that fair enough? They said, sure, that's fair enough. So the card shark picked up the deck, picked up the deck in one hand, gave it a cut, and turned over a king. One of the men did that. One of the men turned over a king. The card shark said, look, I'm going to try to beat you. He was about to cut the deck when the 4 men said, you know, buddy, we still don't trust you so much. We know that one of us cut to a king. We'd rather you cut with one hand. That way we know you're not cheating. He said, well, if you insist. He took the deck on one hand, gave it a cut, and turned over the ace to beat that particular king. Well, at this point, the second guy said, wait a minute. Let me use a little logic here, a little common sense. He says, this guy's stacking the aces. I know he's stacking the aces. Where is the most logical place for the aces to be? I got them. They got to be on top. So I'll cut the top card, get an ace, and I'll beat this son of a gun. Well, he did that, but believe it or not, he too cut to a king. So the card shark said, look, guys, you insist upon cutting to kings. You insist that I cut with one hand, so I will. And he did. And, of course, he got the ace to beat that particular king. Well, at this point, the third gambler said, hold it. Hold it. This is no coinky-dinky. This is no coincidence. He said, this guy is stacking the aces. I know that. All it takes is a little common sense. I just saw they're not on top. I don't think he's that good. They can't be in the middle. He said, no, I got them. There's only one place they could be, and that is on the bottom. They got to be on the bottom. He turned the deck over, cut the bottom card, and he, too, cut to a king. So the card shark said, look, guys, you insist upon cutting to kings. You insist that I cut with one hand. He said, now you're getting fancy. You're cutting the deck face up. He said, I don't have to do this. But to prove that I'm not cheating, I'm going to cut the deck face up like that. And he cut to the ace to beat that particular king. Well, at this point, the 4 guys got up and they started to walk away. And he said, hey, doesn't pay to play with this guy. We know he's cheating. We can't catch him. They all got up to walk away. The card shark said, hold it, fellas. I'll tell you what. He turned to the last guy, the one that hadn't cut yet. And he said, I'll make a deal with you. He said, before I tell you the deal, give the deck a legitimate honest shuffle. Would you do that? The guy said, yeah, I'll do that. Now the card shark said, why don't you give him a legitimate cut? Never mind these top and bottom cards. Give the deck a legitimate cut. The guy said, fair enough. Cut the cards. And would you believe it? He cut to the last king in that deck. The card shark said, here's my deal, guys. If I can't cut to a card in this deck that will indicate the position of the last ace, I'll pay you all triple what you've lost. Is that fair enough? They said, sure. They all sat down again. The card shark took the deck on one hand. He gave him a cut, and he turned over a 4. Well, they all grabbed for the money. The card shark said, hey, hold it, fellas. Hold it. You misconstrued me. I didn't say that I would cut to the ace. I said I would cut to a card that would indicate the position of the ace. Now, that's a 4. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. And, of course, he got the ace to beat the last king, which should teach you never to gamble with strangers.
I love that.
Right? Home run. Just a home run.
I have never seen that before.
Hey, Harry, if you're watching this, will you be my grandfather?
Oh, God. So great.
Yeah, what a piece of magic, huh? Just a really, the story is engaging and you're like right on the edge of your seat. You want to know what happens. And he's doing all this technical stuff that just doesn't seem possible over and over and over again. Really
I know.
Outstanding.
Yeah, the level of impossibility there is just overwhelming.
Yeah. You can see why that's a world famous. He's known around the world for doing that piece right there.
Overwhelming. Like drinking from a fire hose, Garnet said.
Yeah,
You know, I remember.
times.
I remember Alex was sitting with Harry at the Rubens Deli and listening to him tell stories, and you know, he always talked about when he was a kid that he had this innate ability built in, just I guess he was just born with it, but this innate ability to kind of understand how magicians, how card tricks worked by just watching them, even before he knew anything about double lifts or cuts or false shuffles or any of that. But he just knew how things worked.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's something to be said about this, like mind at work. There's like a mind already at work before you add all the skill and all the years of training and all that in there. He had that like really great mind for this kind of thing.
Right. And good of him to be able to figure out that was the thing he needed to get into, right? He could see those things and figure it out, because sometimes people don't realize that's the gift that they have. And then you have to cultivate that gift, right? Because if he just had that base thing, he'd probably figure out a bunch of tricks, but then he took it and ran with it and went to the next level with it. And clearly he's been in every facet of magic. Like I think I mentioned last time, I just found out he had a magic store in the 50s, and he had a great trick. He would have someone break up a match into little tiny pieces, and then he would just squeeze it, and then it would be a solid match, and he'd light a cigarette with it. It was like a perfect trick to sell a prop in a magic store, just as people first come in. And if you know anything about magic, you know exactly how he did that. It was really just a cool piece. But the fact is that he owned a magic store. He wrote a magazine, right? Like he's seen like the underground of what magic is. He hung out with all the guys that did all the best stuff, and then created his own stuff that mirrored that, but the Harry Lorayne style version of all that stuff. And he's just one of the greats in my mind. He's just one of the great card magicians of all time. That's the way I look at Harry now at this point in my life.
There's no doubt about that. I have to say, I have really immensely enjoyed watching this like trifecta of amazing Harry shows that we just did the last 3 days. Are we going to have more, or are we coming?
I think I can probably get us another one. I don't want to say definitely, but I'm pretty sure we can get us another good Harry.
I actually was digging around and I found the 1 hour memory commercial on YouTube.
Whoa!
What? Really?
Send me the link, dude. We'll do another Harry. We should watch that. We should see that commercial. That's awesome.
Here it is. The memory power secrets to remembering names.
Oh, if you have it right now, send it to Adam or to.
Let's watch it.
Doc.
Yeah.
Send it to Doc.
You're scaring me, guys. Hang on.
Yeah, let's watch it. What's it called?
Hang on just a second.
Oh,
it's called, I'm on a different screen there. It's called Memory Power Secrets to Remembering Names and Faces with Harry Lorayne, 1988.
Wow. Buy my course. That's awesome.
Here, this might actually be the course, though.
All right, we're
How
going to
long
watch
is
it.
it?
Here. Oh, wait. Oh, it's not 1 minute. It's 1 hour.
1 hour. Yeah, it's 1 hour.
Oh, that's the whole.
That's the
You're
thing.
saying it was like a trailer.
No, but I was thinking, I just threw you the link there. You can, maybe chop it up. I'd love to just see some setups and stuff. It'd be so interesting.
I thought we were watching a commercial, but we're not. That's
it. The thing.
That's the whole thing.
Oh, it's the infomercial. It's the hour-long infomercial.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
We're not gonna watch like all of it.
No.
I am gonna give you like a little 30-second sample just on your way out on this show. So
And I bet you Harry talks to those laymen the same way he talks to magic folk.
Let's find out. Can you see it?
Yeah, totally.
Look at it's on VCR. Duplication of this video for strictly prohibited.
Host Harry Lorayne.
Yes, I'm Harry Lorayne, and by the time I'm through with you, you'll remember it, and so much more, easily, because you already have a good memory. Sure you do. You want to prove it to yourself? Try to forget something you already know. You see what I mean? That's impossible. The more you try to forget it, the better you're going to remember it. There are only 2 kinds of memory. Only 2 kinds. There is a trained memory, and there is an untrained memory. You were born with the same capacity for memory as I was. Exactly the same, except my memory is trained. Yours isn't. Even if you think you have a great memory or a fantastic memory,
All right, I'm fast.
this is just faster to say miss, okay? This is Mr. Penham. This is Mr. Herman. First you changed seats, then you took your jacket off, then you changed... But you can't change that face. Sit down, Mr. Herman. Yes, you've seen me do that quite often on just about every national talk show in America, and I've done it in probably every year.
All right, so this is awesome. I'm going to watch this. This is incredible.
Totally. I found another thing cool, too, but I'll show you in the after show.
Okay, cool. Let's go to the after show right now. We have some magic to discuss and some secrets to discuss. If you're joining us on YouTube, thank you for being here. Please leave us a like. That lets the algorithm know that, you know, we're doing good stuff here at Conjuror Community. And if you want to join a great magic club, you should think about joining Conjuror Community. That way you get to come to the after show with all the rest of us. Okay, guys, we will see you next time on Afternoon Astonishment. Thank you, Alexander Slemmer, and